Hello out there, this is Cami White, and you're listening to Rushdown Radio.
So, now that we're coming up on number 3, let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't need to tell you guys this game is great. I mean, it's Final Fantasy VII. This is the best Final Fantasy VII ever made, quote unquote, but remade. And they did a pretty good job. I came into this understanding that this was not going to be Final Fantasy VII all over again, and I was fine with that. I also understand that this is going to be an episodic game, so maybe playing it on day one is probably going to leave me waiting for this next part for who knows how long. This is Square Enix we're talking about, and I was okay with that, because this game was well worth me playing all the way through and waiting for the next part. Alright, I'm not even going to talk about the visuals. You've seen it. And it's Square Enix. We don't need to talk about the visuals, so let's get into the rest of what makes this game so great. First of all, battle system. I understand that people wanted it to be turn-based, but making it an action RPG, great decision. I have no idea how classic mode plays. Didn't play it because it feels satisfying to just kind of go through with Cloud, switching modes and getting his parries and just swinging that giant blade around like it's just paper in his hands and doing all the cool limit breaks. It's cathartic. It felt good. Hitting things felt great. Even though, a sword that size should, cleave people in half. But we don't need to talk about that. That's fine. It's cool. Tifa. I kind of wish that she was a little bit more freeform, but hey, with what I was able to use her for, punching the crap, man, just punching people, and it's so good to just. I know I'm making a lot of noises to explain how I feel about playing as Tifa, but that's kind of all I got here because I can't find the words to express how good it is to just be punching the crap out of people. It feels good. It feels wonderful. Now, that leaves the other two, Barret and Aerith. Barret was just a necessary evil, because standing there pointing your gun at something is boring. But I understand that they had to make enemies that only he could deal with, because if you didn't, then why is he there? Aerith, I don't want to talk about Aerith. I don't like her. I don't like playing her. But she's there. Yay for that. Now, what they did with weapon customization, I was impressed. It made me want to go out and find every single item and pump them all up to the max and make sure that I was using each of them to see what all they could do. And I thought it was just going to be some stats here, some stats there, but some of them actually changed up how they played the game. Like you can have a mage Cloud. You can have a not gun arm Barret. I mean, you're still stuck with Aerith being Aerith, but hey, at least she could be offensive sometimes, so that's something. I'm not gonna say anything nice about Aerith. I'm sorry to all of you who love her. And I thought that the way they made you kind of just switch up your weapons, unless you found one that you thought was just the best, but it made you want to experiment. Now, as far as the story is concerned, I have no gripes with the story, but some of those characters they added or fleshed out, like the guy who ran the Chocobos, the country guy, why? I wasn't a big fan of him. He was just some country gambler jackass. But everybody else is pretty great. I love them all for different reasons. And the dance number with Cloud is still the best part of the game. I will hear no more of that. And Cloud in the dress, they did it just as well as I hoped they would. Yep, I'm perfectly fine with Cloud in the dress. Cloud in the dress is best Cloud. That whole section of the game, that whole section where they have to go deal with the Dawn, I thought that was great, save for the guy who had the tragic backstory with the sister and being I didn't care for him either. But at least he wasn't Aerith. Now, With all that said, I can't wait for the next one because I want to see how much more Sephiroth can harass Cloud by standing around. Just standing there. Just not even really doing anything. Just giving Cloud a headache by standing there. I also want to see that soldier with the motorcycle again because he seems like he's going to be interesting. Not really important, but interesting. And that's all I could ask. So with that, I hope I can play this within this game's life cycle. But who knows? It's Square Enix. Who even knows when they can make this game happen? I know they're supposed to be working on it, but hey. Again, it's Square Enix.
Hey guys, so I also chose Final Fantasy VII Remake as my number 3 game of 2020. Unlike Anthony, the plebeian that he is, I definitely enjoyed playing with Barret. I thought Barret was really fun. They actually gave him a pretty decent amount of variety, given the fact that he is just using guns. I do like the fact that he has a melee arm he gets at some point in the game, and that melee arm is super fun. He gets to do like a couple of melee attacks and stuff, so that's fun. I liked Barret. I liked shooting people long distance and stuff with a gun. Like, it's really fun, especially when you get to like charge shot up. That's always cool. Person I didn't like, definitely Aerith. Aerith was my nerves. Like, I hated it. Like, her personality was just like Zoe Deschanel, new girl, Better Pretty Dream Girl, like quirky but cute type thing, and she was just so obnoxious of the whole game. Like I didn't like it. Like, I didn't like it at all. Like, but I think that fit her a lot. I think she definitely is like the Zoe Deschanel type of girl. I think that personality type fits her really well. But I just didn't like the fact that I had to deal with her through the game. Like, it was barely like obnoxious to me. And even playing with her in combat was just like not fun either. I'm not really into like long range mages. Like, I kind of want my mage to be a little bit more in your face. I know mages traditionally are like long range users, but like, I don't know. I'm just not into like, her being such traditional about her long range. Her attacks just was like, I don't know. I just wasn't into it. But what I did love was Jessie. She was always trying to be best girl in this whole game. Like, she was really trying her best to be best girl. She was trying to take the spot from Tifa. Tifa's reigning queen of Final Fantasy VII still to me. Like, Tifa is super, like, she's just best. She's just great. Like, visually, she's great. Her personality is great. Like, everything about Tifa is just perfect. Like, just nothing about her just wrong, honestly. Even though I didn't play with her that much of the game, I actually played with other characters a lot more, but still, she was fun. And just great, just overall. Like, they just brought their personalities from the original game to life here, and it was so good, especially with voice acting, because the original game had no voice acting, so they had a lot of pressure to really bring it home with these voice acting and just like everything about this game. So I was thoroughly impressed. Visuals on point as usual. I mean, it's Square Enix. They're gonna give you pure visual, like eye candy all the way through. I'm surprised they used an Unreal 4 engine, because typically Square Enix uses their own proprietary engine. I think they had a white engine or some other weird name engine they used that's in-house that cost them like millions and millions of dollars. So the fact that you actually went with a third-party engine was really different. That's not something a lot of Japanese developers usually do, especially not Square Enix. They're just like, we make our own engine. But yeah, I think the only thing that was a problem with the Unreal 4 engine is that I think in certain areas of the game, the actual like textures didn't render as they should, so stuff kind of washed out and muted, kind of like what happened with Cyberpunk 2077, but a lot not as bad, nowhere near as bad. They rendered quicker than that. That game was a different subject. But yeah, I love the new stuff they added to the game. I love Don Cornelius. Like, he was so good of a villain. Like, he was a great villain. The whole wall market scene, impeccable, groundbreaking, just exceptional. Great stuff. Like, whoever wrote that has a good eye for like video games and pop culture, and just overall the way they put that together was just really, really good. Some of the new elements they added for the story, they intrigued me a lot, because I didn't want this game to be a straight up 1-to-1 remake. I wanted it to be some new stuff, add like a reason to really play it. Like, I would get bored if like, okay, I know what's gonna happen next. What's going to happen next? I know what's going to happen next. Like, they kind of did that at first. They kind of went on the regular path, but then they started to, like, the path kind of, like, went off the rails towards the end. And then the way we got there was weird. Like, it could have probably got there a different way, but I like the fact they're in a place where there's infinite possibilities of what's going to happen next. Like, we don't know what's going to happen next. It may not. It's definitely not going to just go by the original story from the original game, which I think is probably the best route because it makes it fun for everybody. Everybody's like kind of like starting from square one right now. Because before it was like, oh, people who played the game originally we already know what's going to happen. Where now we're all in the same boat. We don't know what's going to happen next. We're all sitting there like, what is going to happen? Which is great. I think that's a great way to do it because it's gonna make the game even more intriguing and make it better for everybody to experience it together at the same time. So I'm excited for the next part. I love the new characters. I love Jessie. I hoped. Oh gosh, she's so good. Like, she's just such a great character. I love the combat. Great choice to make it an action RPG. Turn-based would have probably made this game stale. Honestly, wouldn't have had the same. It wouldn't have had the same impact if it was like just, especially those last couple of scenes, especially those last fights, especially with Sephiroth. That would have been trash if that was like turn-based. No, that had to be action, real-time combat. That's the only way that would have worked, and it worked well. Like, it was so good, crazy, over the top, yes, but it worked. And I just can't wait to see what happens next because it's gonna be really exciting for everybody to see where this story goes.
Don't forget to subscribe!